Hello, kia ora, g'day. I'm Philip Duncan from Weather Watch TV on YouTube with your Australia-only forecast right through until Sunday. Let's get into it with the wind map, but also the misery index. The misery index, mostly used for farmers and growers. It shows only three colours: blue, 0 degrees and below; red, 30 degrees up to 40, and yellow, 40 degrees and above. So the reason why this is a really useful map is at a glance you can quickly see the areas that have got cooler weather. I'm not actually going for the heat in this one today. So you see here all the southern coastline of Australia, in particular Victoria and Tasmania, being cooled down by that southerly. So if you don't have a colour shading, if you're in that sort of black colour, or whether black's a colour or not, but if you're in the black shading, that means temperatures are temperate. You're not necessarily complaining about it being too hot or too cold when it's that way. So a lot of those main centres in the south at the moment not feeling the heat, and up here around Townsville and Cairns, heavy rain coming through, that's also dropping the temperature in some of those areas. It's funny, we get a complaint every time we show this map. Some people are really triggered by the colour red, which is funny for me as a forecaster because red is only midway to upper on the key. Whether it's temperature or rain, red is very rarely the most extreme colour. And so I find this map quite interesting because yellow is more extreme than red, but the reason why this is interesting to me today is the cooler weather coming through around the high pressure zone there over the Great Australian Bight. And the low pressure zones to the north, we're going to be talking about that because we're seeing a lot more energy now forming up here in the tropics. Now there's still not a massive amount of rain over the top third of Australia at the moment, but you are seeing a bit more in the way of life, especially around the Coral Sea, which you'll be seeing in a moment, producing more low pressure. So at the moment, it is a bit of a messy forecast. There are certainly plenty of showers around. Low pressure here in New South Wales, bordering on the Queensland border, obviously. We've got showers around. Some of those showers could become heavy. There might be some severe thunderstorms, but the main rain is up here around Cairns to Townsville. That's that heavy area of rain coming off the Coral Sea. Low pressure over here as well around the Pilbara and the Kimberley regions, getting some thunderstorms or certainly some rain or showers in the mix there. But easterly winds are quite strong between the high pressure zone here south of Australia and the low pressure zones around the north. So that makes for a squash zone of windy easterlies that are blowing all the way from the eastern coastline right over to the western side. And it's the coastal side of Western Australia most likely to be feeling those winds as we go through the week ahead. Not a great deal of change on Thursday. The high tracks along to the south here. That continues the windier easterly flow right across Australia with some low pressure here near Perth, making for a little bit more instability and also dragging down that red line again, feeling the heat a lot more around the southwestern corner of Australia rather than the southeastern side, which is certainly cooler at the moment. It doesn't mean it's cold or feels cold, but compared to usual, not quite as bad as it could be with the airflow coming from off the sea. Some severe thunderstorms possible north of Port Macquarie up to roughly the border of Queensland, but most of those heavy downpours are around the Kimberley region and over here in far north Queensland. As we go into the weekend, again, not a great deal of change. The high tracking slowly south of Aussie, moving now towards Bass Strait. Windy weather over Victoria, South Australia as well. It's probably not too problematic, but certainly keeps that dry, windy condition carrying on. Coastal showers in New South Wales, no sign of them clearing away. Some of them could be a little bit heavier, blown in off the sea there basically, and that's also keeping the temperatures down still in that southeastern corner of Australia. But up here in the tropics, up here in the Coral Sea, this is one of the low pressure zones worth keeping an eye on. As we go into the weekend, it kind of splits into two. Now, when you've got two lows next to each other, one can steal the energy from the other, and so neither of them get extreme. It covers a large area with rain and cloud, but neither of them are storms. That could happen here with these two lows side by side. But this one further out towards Vanuatu and New Caledonia may deepen further, and that's the one I think that's got the highest risk of forming into a tropical cyclone. So that is going to keep this wet weather carrying on for the coastal parts of Queensland. A lot more cloud in the forecast now, but the wet weather is still not really expanding that much across northern Australia. You do still see plenty of cloud and showers in coastal New South Wales going as far north as Brisbane, and those windy north to northeasterlies carry on, but it stays calm over Tasmania on Saturday as that high pressure zone finally tracks over you and now tracks out over the Tasman Sea, and that's where the high pressure zone is by Sunday, out over the southern Tasman Sea. Still keeps the wet, showery, cloudy weather along the New South Wales coastline. Some of those showers could become a little bit heavy, may even sort of set in as rain for a time. But up here, look, you've got these two lows spinning away in the Coral Sea. This one here closer to New Caledonia, the one that I think is worth keeping an eye on. But obviously this other one up here driving in some heavy rain as well into the coastal side of Queensland. So not weather, not rain coming into New South Wales. I know you need it through central inland areas. It is looking very dry. Same story for South Australia, Northern Territory, and a large portion of Western Australia not getting that rain. And not to forget Tasmania. Sorry, got the label over you again. I do that sometimes. I've got to be more aware of that. But there's nothing happening there. It's dry. So there's not a lot of energy around the Tasmania area at the moment. So that is all from me for today. We'll be keeping a close eye on what is going on in the Coral Sea. So join us for our next Australia Only update. That will be out this Thursday, and we'll certainly be taking a closer look to see just what is going on in the Coral Sea. Are we going to be seeing any tropical cyclones? And also, will there be rain coming for these inland areas that are now really starting to dry out? Thanks for joining me. We'll see you again on Thursday.